is so challenging.
All of our other 3 events are legs, so it is very different.
Bars are definitely super scary in the beginning.
Bars can dominate people trying to control it instead of relaxing into the swing. You have to work with the bar instead of working against it. And when you can work with the bar, it just has a flow. There's a rhythm to it.
It feels like you're flying up in the air, feeling like nothing could bring me down.
It's freedom from everything.
Before I'm about to jump to the bar to do a skill, I actually envision myself doing a skill like perfect with the right technique. I just take a few seconds so I can see like exactly what I want to do it right. My favorite event is bars because I feel like I'm flying around. Especially the toe layout makes me feel like I'm flying because I kind of am. I'm going straight body over the bar. But I sucked at bars when I was like 8, 9. I just didn't spend that much time on it. Then when I fractured my foot, I spent a lot of time on bars, and you do a lot of each skill and learning new skills because that's all you have to do. Honestly, I think that's why I got so good at bars. This year was like my breakout year. Being named to the national team was definitely like a really big deal. We were at championships, and I placed 3rd in the all-around, and I placed 1st on bars, which I was really happy about. I am 15 years old right now, but I turned 16 in May, and I am eligible for the 2020 Olympics. And that's my dream, for sure. My teammate is Riley McCusker, and we've been training together for 3 years. Riley is 18 years old, and I definitely look up to her, especially 2 years ago for sure, because I want to be where she is now.
Riley McCusker, you want to talk about a wild ride. How about this bar routine?
Riley McCusker is basically a bars ninja.
Oh, beautiful. She connected everything.
Back to back to back.
She has some of the most beautiful lines, as we say in gymnastics, which basically means her form is lovely and her ribs are in, which is a whole thing in gymnastics. And she also has really ninja crazy hard difficulty, especially her dismount, which is something that only 2 people in the world do because it's so hard. And that's how you know she's really good.
The new skill I'm trying to put in on bars is my stalder pike. It's when you come under the bar in the stalder position and you let go, and you keep your feet together and you catch the bar. It's like a pretty common thing for gymnasts to fall on bars because it's very difficult. Like, we're all like releasing the bar and letting go of the bar, and sometimes you don't always catch. It's not like physically difficult, but it's sometimes difficult for me mentally because I've had trouble in this skill before, but I'm definitely determined to put this skill in my routine this year. I just have to like keep working on it and build up the consistency. My dream right now, and it has been since I was 6, is definitely to participate in the Olympic Games. I've been working for it my whole life, and honestly, I'm going to put everything I have into it.
The difficulty of skills on bars today is just unbelievable. If you see the moves from like the 50s or the 60s, you wouldn't even think that it's the same sport.
Women's uneven bars evolved from being men's parallel bars. It was really a strength apparatus when it was first done. So the uneven part developed to allow the women to stop in between because they would rest on the low bar before they pull over to the high bar. So it was less requiring of extreme strength.
The earlier styles of movements on the uneven bars look simple compared to what they do now, but then it was about being much more mature, much more balletic. By the time I started, we were trying to fly higher and do some more difficult skills. And it's easier to flip around the bars when your body is light because you're lifting your own body weight all the time. As the skills changed and we got more athletic, suddenly they're doing more flipping around, more twisting, more power elements.
In 1972 in Munich, everybody fall in love with this little girl with the ponytails, Olga Korbut, for Soviet Union team. And Olga was special. And she was able to perform these unique elements. She was the first one to jump from your feet on a high bar.
Watch this, watch this. Backs up, you right to the other bar.
Has that been done before by a girl?
Never, not by any human that I know of.
That is a historic performance you're watching right now in gymnastics.
This is maybe why my fans call me Sparrow, because I fly like a bird. You can feel you nowhere when you are just between bar. This is a very rare feeling. If somebody feel that, lucky.
In many ways, gymnastics is one of the original extreme sports. Think about it. You know, Olga Korbut stood on that bar and did a full backflip and caught the bar and swung under. I mean, man, X Games kids would be dying to do that now, and she did it in the 70s. That changed the way people think about gymnastics.
4 years after that routine from Olga Korbut, where she did the iconic flip at the Olympic Games, then Nadia Comaneci came into the picture.
July 17th, 1976, the opening day ceremonies of the Montreal Olympic Games.
The Soviet Union, they were the best at the time. But in Romania, they asked me, what do you think you're going to do in your first Olympics? I said, I hope to win a medal, and if it's possible, to be gold.
There's a hushed silence now as she begins her final apparatus.
I was the last one on the bars and my team, and I always wanted to do more, yeah? So I added to every little thing. Like in the dismount, you just go around the bar and you go out fly like a bird. You have to have your body straight. I wanted to do arch. I want to do more than just straight.
And there's your dismount, another sensational routine.
I did my routine. I said, this was pretty good. Hopefully I get a 9-9. Then I hear noise in the arena. The scoreboard comes around.
The
first gymnast ever to get a perfect score.
And that was the first perfect 10 routine.
All of us as athletes had enormous respect for her because she took it to the next level. She invented new skills and her technique was impeccable, and she never made mistakes. She was a machine.
I understood the sport and I loved it. Of course, it's not the same that used to be many years ago.
Up to 1981 World Championships, the bars weren't far apart. So when the girls started doing giant swings, it was pretty hard. And then that just led to, let's see if we widen the bars more. And the bars gradually became wider and wider.
My first big fear was learning the giants on the uneven bars. So when you go to a handstand on the high bar and go around the bar in a full circle. My coach said, hey, we're gonna learn these today. And I recall running to the bathroom and locking myself in the bathroom and crying because I didn't want to come out, but then they pushed through it.
A lot of the skills in gymnastics are like progression skills. It's like the basis of bars is a kip, where you jump to the bar and then you extend your hip and then bring your toes up, which is super hard because when you're young, like you don't have as much arm strength as you need. But then once you have a kip, then you can do a cast. And then a cast is when you go from your hips up to a handstand. Then you can add on after that.
My secret to bars is that the handstands were like my breathing time. Some people might even like hold their breath, which makes you even more tired if you don't have any spots in a routine to like take a breath.
A bars routine is judged based on the difficulty and execution of your flight elements. Turns, grip changes, and dismount.
You cannot just swing on the bars anymore like we used to. You have to connect strong scale immediately to the strong scale. It's on such a tremendously high level.
With bars, I see the circles. I see the geometry of what the body is doing. And more flexible athletes actually have better bar routines. You look at someone like Nastya Lyukin, who's extremely flexible. And she was just such a natural bar worker.
Speaking of flying, she's going to fly down to the low bar. Look at that, beautiful execution.
The best bar workers in the world have a good flow and rhythm on the bars to be able to make it look easy, even though it's really, really not. All of our other 3 events are legs, so it is very different. So these are the hand grips that most people use on bars. Certain countries have their styles and their ways. Most people use chalk, but lots of countries use honey on the bars, and they don't use grips. For a long time, I didn't use grips. I just went with my hands, but it's really hard on your hands.
When I was 15, one little boy from my class invited me to go to the movie theater. He is coming with his hand and taking my hand. And my heart started beating, and then all of a sudden, he throws my hand away and he screams because my hands is full of calluses because we use bars a lot. That's what happened to gymnast hands. So he wasn't ready for me, as we can see.
These are some of my medals. This is from the Pan American Games, and this is actually for bars, and I can tell this one is from bars because when I got this medal, I had a really bad rip that was bleeding when I received it, so I got a little blood like right here on the neck. And that's how I can tell which one's from bars and which one's from all around. Yeah. Blood, sweat, and tears, that's what goes into it.
And look at that, the connection of those very difficult skills is what elevates her routine head and shoulders above the others.
In Peru, I had team gold, and then I got a gold on uneven bars finals. It was definitely kind of a cool transition from being like a no-name gymnast up to one of the top elites.
The key to success in gymnastics is your strength to weight ratio. There's no other thing that really matters. If you're super strong and fairly light, or strong for your body weight, you can manipulate your body in incredible ways.
You need a lot of body strength for bars because you're lifting your own body weight up and over the bar and flying and doing all these skills. But I also eat really healthy because you could be thin, but you want your muscles to kind of pop and you want your physique to be shredded kind of. So I try and eat my best. We're an Italian family from Staten Island, so every Sunday we have Sunday dinner together. My grandma will cook homemade pasta, homemade meatballs, her sauce. Everything she makes is from scratch. There's just so much good food.
Over there. Okay. Hello. Hi. My baby girl.
Dad, put this in that corner.
That's Grandma's job, exactly.
Keep eating.
Manza, manza.
If you guys want to be good at gymnastics, you're going on a pasta diet. That's what does it.
Before meets, the week before, I won't have pasta, but I normally have pasta almost every weekend, every Sunday.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's good.
And how can you not? You're having homemade pasta. I can't not have it.
It's true.
This one here, I always know that she would have been a great gymnast.
That's right.
There you go.
See, Nana knew.
What about me? Am I going to be a millionaire?
I didn't say that. That's not what I said.
A lot of people, when I tell them how many hours you train, they say to me, what do you think, she's going to be in the Olympics? I'm like, hey, you never know, she's going to work hard and you never know what happens.
Exactly.
Didn't cry the night they made the Olympic team. But
In 2012, it was definitely a surreal moment to hear my name announced as a member of the Olympic team. I was the youngest member of the team, and I think I was probably one of the youngest Olympians in London. And bars is my favorite event. In the Olympics, I was about like 5 feet, 5'1". I was like the same height as Allie and Jordan and Michaela.
This routine should be 15 plus with a good landing.
And then right after the Olympics, I had a huge growth spurt. I grew about like 5 inches in a year, and I was like 5'6". And bars is very hard when you're tall, so it was kind of crazy. I mean, I never wanted to quit, but it was a struggle. Like, I was like, certain skills that I had been doing for years, I no longer could do.
Very tall for a gymnast. Makes it super challenging. Check this out right here. Ouch.
I would hit the low bar all the time. Like, my feet would have bruises all over the tops of them because I would go for a skill and I would bang into the low bar on accident.
Right there. Gotta work hard on this.
Caught her heel. Wow. She actually caught her heel on the low bar, which definitely can slow your momentum.
Age in gymnastics sucks because our peak window is just so small because it's easier when you're smaller just because you're gonna feel lighter. But that's why gymnastics is such an unfair sport because like we can't put our bodies on hold.
Nadia was perfection for everybody in every way, shape, and form. But she was also a preteen. She was 14 years old when we first saw her.
When you look at gymnasts before that time frame, before like 76, there were gymnasts staying around a lot older. And then Nadia scoring that first perfect 10 and becoming a legend herself, that's where the culture shifted and the Karolis believed that was the way to create champions. It had to be this small, petite gymnast in this prepubescent phase.
The world-famous Bella Karolyi is credited with the new look of the female gymnast.
And I was responsible for bringing a new change and a new flow into the sport of gymnastics, bringing up a very young, tiny, and incomparably smaller size young participants.
The Russians dominated for years, and then the Romanians dominated for like 10, 12 years. And the Chinese have always been in the run, either 3rd, 4th place. The Chinese gymnasts, they have like this straight line. It is an incredible line. That's why on bars, they're always so beautiful aesthetically to watch. And the bars is easier because they don't have to transfer that weight as much as kids who have different body types.
The Chinese athletes are small and tiny. Once you see them on camera, you're like, wow, is she old enough to compete? Of course, there were some instances where ages had been changed.
So far for her, she's so little. She's on fingertips.
We have proof that there was age falsification in the 2000 Olympics. And that is why the Chinese team lost their team medals. But there's been a history of Eastern Bloc countries doing age falsification and not being punished for it, where Asian countries have. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that there may be, even if it's not intentional, some kind of inherent racism in the process of who is punished for age falsification and who's not.
They were so tiny physiques, it was quite impossible for us to kind of imitate that. I remember going away to competitions and we had quite a lot of coaches that were quite obsessed with weight, like, oh, they're better because they're skinnier, which is not a physique everybody can kind of adapt to.
Growing up, I felt really ashamed that I was gaining weight because I was taught to see that gaining weight was a bad thing. As a young kid, even before the Olympics, I had a boxy body type, and I'm a more busty athlete, but it's not something that I really paid attention to until people started pointing it out in a negative way. At the time, I was noticing every second of every day, how do I look? What do I look like? So body shaming and body image played a really big role in my gymnastics career, and no one preps you for that. To think that I went through puberty and thought it was abnormal was mind-blowing.
Squeeze. Good. I actually started gymnastics when I was 5 and a half. I used to flip around and I liked tumbling. So my mom put me in my first class, and I was in love with it. And my first competition I went to, I won. And that made it 10 times more fun because I get to do my favorite thing ever, and people are also clapping for me and, you know, watching me and telling me what a great job I'm doing. Around 97, 98, I was the best at the time, or one of the best. There was parts of me that wanted fame and wanted that excitement, and so the Olympics felt like that was that final goal. When I won USA Gymnastics Championships in 1997. For me, it was like amazing, and that's when I got a lot of attention and people talking about now she's the Olympic hopeful.
Vanessa, you not only won the meet tonight, but with those 2 vaults, you're halfway there to being a national champ. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
An agent jumped on it right away and was like, you know, you're gonna make a lot of money. So I was like, okay, let's do this. So I did a Reese's commercial.
How U.S. gymnast Vanessa Adler eats a Reese's peanut butter cup.
At that time, I had really good body confidence until my coach, Steve, started weighing us. Steve never said, oh, that's too much. It was just me looking at what my number was on the scale. And my instant thing is they think I'm fat and I need to lose weight.
Okay, let's see what the U.S. champion eats for a vacation. Onion rings.
I already ate my hand.
Should I give this film to Steve? Show him what you're eating?
So that's when like a kind of a cycle of happened of eat less and try to weigh less the next day. So it affected me a lot. Bars started challenging me the same exact moment because I fell on bars at an early competition. People were like, this gave her problems before, let's see what she does now. And so it felt like there was a lot riding on that one skill or that one event. The media tried to make it a big deal. They would do stories about my uneven bars.
If she's ever going to be an Olympic champion, she has to get her confidence back and conquer the uneven bars. After all, Vanessa's the gymnast everyone's watching.
When the media would talk about the Olympics for me, as it got closer, I would do the thing where if I'm stressed, I would eat. I was binging, like I would go just sit in the car and eat like a whole bag of jelly beans. And so it was just this vicious cycle. Later on, I start going like, I should probably throw it up and stuff. So then I started doing that. So that kind of messed me up. So most of my like being bulimic was like to not get in trouble or be embarrassed. And I was scared to disappoint people. And I remember this competition I was doing, and I was binging and fell out of shape, and I couldn't even get through my events. I was just really upset walking through the hallway, and I saw someone who was one of the top people in USA Gymnastics. And I went in there and I started crying, and she said, "What's wrong? Come sit down next to me." And I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm eating a whole bunch, and I feel fat, and I've been throwing up. And she goes, "No, Vanessa, you need to do what you have to do." That's what she said. That moment was devastating. And I remember walking out, realizing that, like, I told them I'm bulimic and they don't care. How do I get help?
Just the sport in general, like, puts a lot of pressure on body image.
Beautiful. Look at the flight. It is so airy.
And just having to be in like a leotard every day, your coaches or the people around you are always going to be noticing that. When I started going to the national team camps, there was more pressure from Marta and trying to maintain like a skinny image of what they believed a gymnast should look like. The anxiety was high around food because we were so worried about like literally gaining even like half a pound. It's because we all have the same goal to make the Olympic team. So I think that's some of the internal struggles that we all dealt with.
It's about the gymnastics culture and how we've created it over decades.
When I started doing gymnastics, and that time in Soviet Union, one of the ways to lose weight, not to drink water. When I came to US and I saw everybody drinking water, for me, I was shocked how gymnasts can drink water. Then I learned, of course, that it is necessary.
Definitely it is not healthy to keep your weight all the time and same. But in same time, what you can do? You gave up everything to be somebody, and you have to live with that. You have to reach your goal. It's hard, yes, because you always wanted to eat. Always. Gymnasts always want to eat.
Ой, Господи. А? Режим. Наедимся и режим.
Хочется.
Ой, Борис, блокируйте слюнки.
When I closed the Olympic Games, I knew I did it. And second in my mind was, now I can eat.
At the Olympics, we were asked to be at a certain weight.
This little blonde pixie, Kathy Rigby, 4 feet 11 and just 89 pounds.
So I stopped eating because that's what the coaches wanted. Except for one day, we were going out to a pizza parlor, and I probably ate 5 pieces of pizza. I was so hungry. And I was terrified that we were going to be weighed in the next day. And I had one of my older teammates say, oh, it's no big deal. I just eat whatever I want, and then I throw it up. And I went, well, that sounds really horrible. But I did it, and it became addictive. Once I got to a certain weight, I felt more perfect, although I think my energy and everything else was a bit drained because of not getting any nutrition. When your value starts getting measured by how great you can become, especially in a sport like gymnastics where it is about perfection. It's about not making any mistakes. All you want to do is please, so that became the focus, to please this coach and to please people who were investing so much time and energy in a career.
There's only one place where I see a concrete deduction. That's coming up right here. When her legs hit the bar, you see a slight knee break. There. And the rest is absolutely perfect, yet she only gets 9.2. That's unfortunate.
Disappointing is like death. It's like this white-hot failure feeling that people add on themselves, that sometimes other coaches add on to them as well. And that was a lot for a 15, 16, 17-year-old to deal with.
When you think that you're fat, it affects so much, you know. It messes with your mind. So 1999, USA Gymnastics, National Championships, every event I did, beam, floor, and vault was just like amazing and great. My friends were excited for me and my family was excited. I'm in first place going through it. And if I hit bars, I win. It meant so much. It was such a big thing because it would mean I was national champion finally, or I would go to the Olympics, or I would go to World Championships. It was a lot of pressure mentally for me.
So we come down to the final rotation. For Vanessa Atler, everyone at Arco Arena knows what it means. It means trying to overcome her problems on the uneven bars.
For bars, I wasn't afraid of the specific skill. I was afraid of disappointing everybody.
She has these pirouetting skills. Sometimes she doubts herself a little bit, gets a little bit tight, a little conservative.
The entire routine is just like, please, God, let me stay on the bars. All I had to do was make it, and I could not do it. And Steve got really upset with me in front of a lot of people.
1.5, pause. Am I gonna do the 1.5? And then the Katja, did you go really aggressive? Did you push hard and go like you're gonna be mean and aggressive the whole time?
I thought so.
Just this much.
And then afterwards, he didn't talk to me the rest of the day. It's hard enough to be disappointed in yourself, but no one tells you how to deal with disappointing thousands of people. After that meet happened, I still ended up going to like Olympic trials, but I was still obsessed with my weight, and then it got worse. I kind of like knew that I wasn't gonna be on the team. My theory is it wasn't the bars, it was just me. Later, my agent told my mom that I didn't make the Olympics because I was fat. For me, that's like a sentence that just kills me. I was like depressed for like 2 years after that. I would sit on the couch and just like stare and be really depressed. The journey of getting to where I was at that time, I was so ready to just be done, and I quit.
I started talking about eating disorders right around 1980, 81. Gymnasts learn to do what they're told. They're good girls. They're obsessive. Guess what? That's really fertile ground for developing an eating disorder. And I felt that it was time to talk about it.
Well, there are an awful lot of talk in gymnastics concerning weight, being in control, and when any of these are out of balance, not only is your career in jeopardy, but also your physical and mental well-being. The very thing that makes great women athletes could predispose them to this type of disorder.
Right, and it's a secretive behavior they have, so it's very hard for parents and coaches to detect it.
It was very important to us to say something about it because I know these young women, and it takes a lifetime for them to get over this kind of stuff. After gymnastics, I went through a time where I wanted to be invisible. No expectations, no pressure, no coach telling you what to do, nobody judging you. Those were the things that were probably the most difficult to overcome, and I couldn't do that until I disassociated from the sport completely. And that didn't happen until my first theater job.
Kathy Rigby is Peter Pan.
Way up high, suddenly, here am I'm flying.
I was so enthralled with what I was doing in the theater world, and it was a distraction for a while, and then it became easier. I didn't think about weighing myself or eating or not eating, because I liked this more than I liked the eating disorder, and that I went, okay, there's hope. There's some hope now. And I started remembering the joy of flying.
I know so many teammates and athletes that are affected by weighing and it ruining the rest of their life, or they have a eating disorder because of it. Still to this day, my #1 issue is still weight.
Okay, what else are we gonna look at? Oh, there's Mama stretching when she was little. That's Mama. Mama. It's Mama. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That's when Mama was flexible.
I've overcome a lot of things. I've been at peace with a lot of things. I've forgiven a lot of people. But it's the one thing I have not conquered or gotten over is figuring out how to be healthy for myself. And I really want to do that for my daughter.
I did it.
Yeah.
Toes, good. Good job.
I think that kids have more of a voice now, which is awesome. And I think as the new generation of coaches are coming in, it's getting better. But it's always been an old culture. And I do not like any gym that weighs their athletes. It should not be practiced at gyms. Kids should not be on the scale, and people should not be watching how much they weigh and stuff. It just should not be happening. So when I coach gymnastics, it's healing for me because I'm doing what I feel like I needed. Oh, I like that. That was good.
Gymnastics is really important to me. Like, this is like my whole life. It's like a job because I do come in the gym every day for almost 6 hours and I work really hard, but at the same time, it's really important that it's really fun for me to do and I always feel confident.
The joy of it all is the actual being on that apparatus and learning those skills and building that strength that you suddenly can do stuff that to everybody else seems absolutely impossible. There's such a thrill in that control over your body.
I love uneven bars. and I only focus on what I can control, which is my gymnastics. I'm not looking around really at anyone else because there's no point. It drives you crazy if you look around and compare yourself to everyone else.
All gymnastics is easier when you're lighter, but there's also a strength and power element to gymnastics, so it's finding the right balance. I think it's pretty cool to see that there are so many different body types in gymnastics now, and everyone is doing like what they love no matter what they look like.
I feel really strongly about body positivity because
you compare yourself to the girl next to you, it's never gonna work because she's completely different. Some girls can be really strong, and then some girls may be really flexible. Gymnast bodies, we have like little superpowers everywhere, and figuring out what that is for everybody can really help your gymnastics. As long as you're healthy, that's wonderful. That's all that matters.